Today's lesson is What is your news feed feeding you?
Hello, everyone. My name is Helen.
And I'm Roger.
And today we're going to talk about what is your newsfeed feeding you? And so what is the question that's being asked here? Well, the way I look at it is, it used to be that people got their news from newspapers or news reports on TV. And reading the newspaper over breakfast before going to work or school was a ritual, as was watching the evening news. But these days, many people like to find out what's going on in the world by going online and checking their news feeds on social media sites like Facebook and Twitter. Now, a news feed, of course, is a web page that updates or changes often to show the latest news or information.
Is that kind of how you get most of your news, Helen, online?
I try not to, but I find that I slip into this mode of finding out what's going on because if I don't go to a newspaper or even an online newspaper, I just get bombarded with news on Facebook from what my Facebook friends are showing me.
Okay, makes sense. I think most people try to get their news online. It's more convenient. You just use your device or your PC at home or whatever, and you don't have to go down to your local convenience store and buy a newspaper every day. That costs money and it produces pollution. So, of course, most people get their news online, but more specifically, we're talking about your news feed, the news that comes to you through social media or through your own web browsing. So let's find out what this is all about. Hey, what are they feeding us? What kind of news feeds are we being fed on? Let's listen now to the first part and we'll come right back.
What is your news feed feeding you? Whenever you turn on your phone or computer, you're entering a battle being fought between tech companies, news outlets, and others. They're contending for a big trophy, your attention. Once they get it, they can not only make money, but also control you.
大家好，第一部分我们看到的单字是 contend， 这个字是动词，指竞争、争夺。常用 contend for 加名词来表示争取……例如 Two board members will contend for the post of chairman. 两位委员将争取主席的席位。另外 contend 除了是上述的意思之外，还可以指对付、应付，用法为 contend with somebody or something。我们可以说Living in Japan, we have to contend with snow every winter. 住在日本，我们每年冬天都得应付下雪的气候。接着，我们看到一个名词 trophy， 指奖品、战利品。像是 The beautiful vase on the shelf was a trophy that Mom won on the cooking competition. 柜子上那个漂亮的花瓶是妈妈参加料理比赛赢得的奖品。另外 trophy 可以指奖杯、讲座，所以可以说 Our team received a silver trophy for finishing second in the tournament. 我们的队伍得到联赛第2名，获颁一座银色奖杯。
Okay, it's time for us to talk about the first part of today's lesson. So Helen and I pretty much told you what a news feed is, but also please pay attention in the title here. We've got the word feed being used as a verb. What are we being fed with? What is the news feed feeding us? So you use the word feed when you talk about giving food to animals. Hey, you need to go feed the cat. The cat is hungry. The cat is meowing. You got to feed that cat. It's hungry. But here we're getting fed by news on social media and other places.
Right, so we have a pun here, and the title is suggesting that the news feed that we come across online is actually feeding us. So we may think the news feed is feeding us information, feeding us news, but actually it's not as simple as that. Every time we go online, something happens. We don't only get the news as presented as facts.
That's right. Sometimes we get fake news, and there's also the problem of getting news that you want to read pretty much, and you don't get news that you don't want to read so much. That's another problem we'll get to in just a couple of seconds here. So let's start looking at the first paragraph here. It begins by saying, whenever you turn on your phone or computer, you're entering a battle being fought between tech companies, news outlets, and others. Gee, I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a big war going on right there in the palm of my hand or at my fingertips on the keyboard there. But yes, this happens whenever you turn on your phone or whenever you turn on your computer. You could just say when you do those things at that time. When you swipe your phone or when you enter into your PC there. There's a battle going on between tech companies, news outlets, and others.
Right, so it's not so simple. Every time we turn on our computer or phone, we may think that we are making choices, and it's actually much more complicated than that because whenever or each time we turn our phones on, all of these forces are actually competing for our attention. They're contending for a big trophy, your attention.
That's right. That's the big trophy there. To contend here, especially with the preposition for, to contend for, that means you compete for something. They're trying to win. They're trying to defeat their opponent to get your attention. If you're in a competition, you're contending for the championship. You're competing for the championship. You want to win. You want to be number one. In this particular case, they want your attention. That's the big trophy. Remember, a trophy is something you win as a result of usually an athletic competition, but it could be a speech competition or whatever. It's some kind of three-dimensional statue, basically. It's usually gold in color. It might have a cup on the top. That is a trophy. But this trophy is not really that thing. It's actually just your attention. They want to win your attention to sell you advertising and things like that.
Right. So your attention is their trophy because once they win your attention, which means you have various choices when you're surfing the internet, when you're on your cell phone, your mobile phone. But if your attention is caught by one particular piece of news or one service and you turn your attention away from the others, then the one that caught your attention won the trophy.
Yes, they got your attention and now they can control you or at least get you to buy the products that are advertised by their sponsors. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Now let's listen to the second part.
5 years ago, Facebook proved just that. The social media giant revealed it had been experimenting with users' newsfeed content to deliberately manipulate their moods. Seeing positive posts prompted users to share upbeat comments, while negative ones led users to share pessimistic views.
第二部分，我们看到一个单字 upbeat， 这个字是形容词，指乐观的、积极向上的。举例来说 ，Tom made an upbeat presentation about the company's future. Tom 针对公司前景做了令人振奋的简报。
Welcome back, folks. So, in the first part, we learned that big tech companies actually compete or contend for our attention each time we turn on our phone or computer. They see our attention as a prize. Why is that? Because once they have our attention, they can both make money and control us. How did this happen? Well, Facebook has the answer. As this part says, 5 years ago, Facebook proved just that. The social media giant revealed it had been experimenting with users' newsfeed content to deliberately manipulate their moods.
Boy, that sounds pretty bad here. Facebook at least admitted this, or they revealed this. We're describing Facebook as being a social media giant. Lots of people participate in Facebook. I myself am guilty of that, although I do try to limit my time on Facebook because you could spend all day looking at Facebook posts. But they revealed, or they let people know that they'd been experimenting with something. They'd been experimenting with users' news feed content. In other words, they were having some experiments as to what kind of news stories were showing up on your Facebook page for you to read, but they were doing this deliberately. So if something is done deliberately, that means they meant to do it. It wasn't an accident. They did it on purpose.
Right. And so basically they were admitting how they were controlling the minds of their users because they wanted to see how people would react to certain information that was being shown on Facebook. And when you understand how people react to information, you can control those people, whether it's for marketing purposes or maybe to get them to think a certain way in politics and social issues. The consequences are pretty serious.
Exactly. So that's what manipulating means. They try to use you. They try to twist you to get you to do what you don't want to do, but what they want to do. So they're just trying to use you. They're trying to control your mood here, but they're doing that on purpose. They're doing it deliberately. Like the other day, I was walking down the sidewalk and somebody bumped into me and they said, "Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to do that." But I thought, no, you did that deliberately. You really wanted to bump into me and knock me down. But in this particular case, yes, Facebook admitted that they did this deliberately. They did it on purpose to twist us, to play with our minds, to affect our moods, to manipulate them. And here in the next sentence, it says, seeing positive posts prompted users to share upbeat comments, while negative ones led users to share pessimistic views. Interesting. So if you have a positive post, people are posting those all the time, like, be happy you're alive, or isn't it a great day, or something like that. That would be a positive post. Well, it will prompt you to share upbeat comments. To prompt someone means to encourage, right?
Right. To prompt means to cause something to happen or to be done. So I could say Jane's mother's illness prompted her to study medicine and become a doctor.
What a wonderful cause there, to become a doctor. Even though doctors work very, very hard, they deserve the salaries they receive. That's definitely hard work. So here, of course, it prompts us or encourages us to share upbeat or optimistic or happy comments, while negative ones, ones that aren't so nice, that are kind of, boy, life is terrible. We just live and then we get sick and then we die. That's kind of negative. That's kind of pessimistic. So, of course, if they post negative things, then we're going to share pessimistic views. Pessimistic is the opposite of optimistic. Pessimistic means you're kind of negative. You think life is terrible and there's no use in living.
Right. It's basically thinking that the worst thing will happen in every situation. So it's really better to not be too pessimistic because then life is just gray all around. And it's good to be optimistic, but sometimes not too optimistic. So I would say the best way is to draw a balance between a bit of optimism and a bit of pessimism.
That sounds reasonable to me. Be optimistic as much as you can, but also be realistic and realize that sometimes pessimism does have its place. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's move on to the third part right now.
Since then, the power of news feeds has grown, making them more dangerous. For example, many people get their news almost entirely from social media, which is designed to show them content they might like. The articles people see present a biased view of reality that reinforces their existing beliefs. Experts believe this filter bubble phenomenon has significantly influenced election results, among other things. The bias in our news feeds also contributes to the spread of fake news, because we're less critical of views we agree with, and therefore more likely to pass those articles on. Remember, social media can be a great tool for learning and communicating, but it's essential you control it rather than let it control you.
第三部分，我们看到一个单字 biased， 这个字为形容词，指有偏见的、偏袒一方的，像是Courts fear a biased jury, so they will go through a long process to select jurors. 法庭担心陪审团偏颇，所以会经历冗长的程序挑选陪审员。另外，将 biased 去除字尾的 ed， 则可以成为它的动词 bias， 指使存偏见，使有偏心。我们可以说 Press coverage of the trial biased the jurors against the defendant. 媒体对这场审讯的报道造成陪审团对被告有了偏见。再来 我们看到动词 reinforce 有强化、加深之意。例如 If you provide disobedient children with candy, you are reinforcing their bad behavior. 如果你给不乖的孩子糖果，就是在强化他们不好的行为。另外 reinforce 除了上述的意思外，还可以指加强、加固。所以可以说This product's frame is reinforced with steel to make it more durable. 这项产品的外框用钢加固，让它更耐用。最后，我们看到片语 contribute to 加名词，课文中用来表示促成、导致……举例来说 Poor ventilation in the office contributed to the spread of flu infections. 办公室的空气流通不良，导致了流行性感冒的传染。另外 contribute to 还有以下两个意思。首先可以指为……贡献。我们可以说 The CEO said that all of the employees contribute to the success of the company. 这位执行长表示，全体员工都为公司的成功有所贡献。再来，还有为……写稿的意思。所以我们可以说 Edwin has contributed to several magazines. Edwin 为好几本杂志撰稿。
Okay, so again, we're talking about news feeds and how they can affect our moods. We just got done talking about Facebook. They were deliberately manipulating people's moods, prompting people to share upbeat comments if there were positive posts, and then they would share negative comments that would have pessimistic views if they saw kind of negative, bad news sorts of posts on their Facebook feeds. Okay, so here, since then, since that time, 5 years ago, the power of news feeds has grown, making them more dangerous. Oh no, it's only gotten worse. Those news feeds are even more dangerous. We've got to be extra careful now.
Right, because it used to be that Facebook was used by people to share photos and things from their personal lives, but more and more it has become political. So these days, the power of news feeds has grown, making them more dangerous because it's become a source of a person getting their news.
Yes, a source of news. And of course, we all know this kind of stuff, getting those feeds from various sources. Let's give you some examples here. For example, many people get their news almost entirely from social media, which is designed to show them the content they might like. That's true, of course, if you're on social media like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever. You're going to be getting news stories, and most people get their news from social media, but it's designed to show you what you want to see. And of course, as you know, people want to hear what they want to hear, and they don't want to hear about what other people have to say. So, you know, if you're on the political left or on the political right, you're going to want to hear news stories that support your position. You don't want to hear about the opposition.
That's true, because usually when you're watching the news on television, you can't control what you're watching. The news is just going to report what they decide to report. Whereas on Facebook and other social media sites, you can control what you want to see because you can decide to shut off and to ignore certain news sources and focus only on the ones that you agree with. And chances are that you are friends with people who share the same political views as you have. So it's very easy to get a biased view on these social media sites.
Right. So, for example, if you support the Blues here in Taiwan, your news feeds are going to probably be nothing but stories about how great they are. And if you support the Green, well, the opposite is true. You'll get stories that support the Greens more than the Blues, etc. And the same is true with American politics or Brexit or whatever. You're just going to receive the articles that you want to read. It says it gives you a biased view of reality that reinforces your existing existing beliefs. So it's biased, of course. That means you're subjective. You only present the views that you want to present, and it reinforces, it makes them stronger. You're just going to be even more stronger in your beliefs. Experts believe this filter bubble phenomenon has significantly influenced election results, among other things. So we're describing this phenomenon as being a filter bubble. Filter, of course, means only what you want comes through and the bad things stay away. And a bubble kind of refers to just you're being alone in a certain place away from stuff you don't like.
Right. You're enclosing yourself in only the things that you agree with and that you like, and then you're excluding everything, filtering out everything else. So this isn't going to present a very objective view of the news, of reality in general.
Right. So the bias in our news feeds also contributes to the spread of fake news because we're less critical of views we agree with and therefore more likely to pass those articles on. So this is our bias, okay? We're being subjective here, so we have this bias in our news feeds, and that contributes to the spread of fake news. It makes the spread of fake news more possible because, we're less critical of views we agree with. We tend to say, yes, that's true, absolutely. Somebody else who doesn't feel this way, well, they're stupid, they don't know what they're talking about. And so we would pass on articles, we would forward them to other people, we would press the like button, and then other people are going to read them as well. That could happen with fake news as well. Now, remember, social media can be a great tool for learning and communicating, but it's essential you control it rather than let it control you. So it is a great tool for learning, but it's essential, it's important that you control it and don't take so many feeds from sources that you like. Try to hear from the other side. Do you do this at all, Helen? Do you like your news feeds include both left-wing and right-wing political views?
It really doesn't, actually, and I'm very bothered by that fact. So I'm trying to get my news more from newspapers and official sources than just getting it secondhand from other people's posts. But like this article says, social media can be a great tool for information. We just have to know that it has this characteristic and we have to be aware of it and use it wisely.
That's pretty good advice there. So hopefully we'll all become more objective with our news feeds in the future. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation. It's time now to hear from our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文一开始提到，每当我们打开手机或是电脑，这些科技公司啊、新闻传媒或是其他事物都是在争夺我们使用者的关注。好，这边他用到一个动词叫 contend， 我们来学它的字根 T-E-N-D 或者是 T-E-N-S 或者是 T-E-N-T， 这几个字根它其实都有展开、伸展或是拉紧的意思。像 tension， 它其实就是由 T-E-N-S 表示拉紧，再加上名词字尾 I-O-N， 所以 tension 它就有紧张、紧绷的意思。好，那么在 content 这个字当中呢，字首 C-O-N 表示一起，它是做强调用。那么 T-E-N-D 表示伸展。同学们可以试着联想，当大家一起在一个狭小空间一起伸展，你是不是就得争夺空间呢？那你也可以联想说，在抢购东西的时候，大家会一起伸手去争夺，所以 content 它有竞争、争夺的意思。好，顺便补充几个相同字根的单字。第一个是 extent，E-X-T-E-N-T。好，它的字首 E-X 表示向外， T-E-N-T 表示展开。向外展开，那应该可以想到说 extent 它有范围、广度的意思，也可以用来指程度。好，第二个单字是 pretend， P-R-E-T-E-N-D， 它的字首 P-R-E 表示在什么之前， T-E-N-D 表示展开。那这个字它原本是根据字面上的意思，表示在前方延展开来。那它有在大家面前发表意见、宣称的语义，让大家来相信。那后来它就衍生出假装或是自称的意思。好，第三个是 tendency。T-E-N-D-E-N-C-Y， 它的字根 T-E-N-D 表示延展，那么 E-N-C-Y 是名词字尾，那这个名词它就有趋势、潮流的意思，也可以用来表达倾向。 好，课文最后提醒我们说，要记住，社群媒体可以是很棒的学习工具，或是很棒的沟通工具。不过最重要的是，该由你来掌控它，而不是让它掌控你。他就说啦 ，It's essential you control it rather than let it control you。这边用到的句型是 It is essential that。主词 should 原形动词。好，那么其中的 essential 你也可以把它换成 important 或是 necessary 或是 vital 等等。而句型中的 that 可以省略不用，然后 that 子句里面的 should 也常常省略不用，只保留后方的原形动词。像课文里面这个 It's essential you control it 就是由 It's essential that you should control it 省略掉 that 跟 should 而来的。好，那除了刚刚的这个句型呢，我们也可以改用 It is essential 搭配不定词来表达什么什么是必要的、不可或缺的，像是It's essential you follow the safety rules 也可以说 It's essential to follow the safety rules 遵守安全规定是必要的。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Contend. 5 spots are available on the team, and so far 9 people are contending for them. Trophy. Juan competes because he enjoys it, not because he wants to win a trophy. Deliberately. Gabby deliberately avoided bringing up the sensitive topic. Manipulate. Successful advertisements manipulate people into buying products. Prompt. A new study has prompted many doctors to question current methods for treating the disease. Pessimistic. While Andy was going through a hard time, he had a very pessimistic attitude.
Discussion starter starts now!
Okay, it's time now for our discussion starter. Here's the question. Can you think of any other negative effects of news feeds?
Well, news feeds encourage people to think a certain way without understanding why they think that way, which causes people to accept points of view easily.
Well, news feeds can also harm people when they spend all day looking at their phones or reading things on their computer, and they don't actually try to take the information out and talk with other people to challenge their views. We just kind of live in our little cyber bubble, and we believe what we want to believe. I really think we need to turn off those devices once in a while and talk to real people. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I'm Helen.
See you next time.